بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, our praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us the opportunity to start our day with the Masjid. We ask Allah to grant us the khair of this day and protect us from all types of evil. One of the very important things as a believer, a person needs to be constantly in worry about is how can he be protected from the deception of Shaytan. Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Quran, Inna Shaytana lakum aduwwun. Indeed, Shaytan is your enemy. And every single day when a person wakes up, either he is able to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his actions, or he's able to please Shaytan with his action. And this is a battle that takes on every single day when a person wakes up in the morning till he goes back to bed. Now, there are certain ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has facilitated for the believers to stop themselves in any way possible that he can be given an influence or he can be given an attack from Shaytan. Wasawis, things that Shaytan whispers in the minds and heart. Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, also the nephew of the Prophet sallallahu, also the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the son of Abbas radiyallahu an. Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu is known the Hibrul Ummah, the scholar of this ummah, as well as Ra'is al-Mufassirin, the chief of all the commentators of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu due to the services that he provided for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a great knowledge of deen as well as the knowledge of Quran. Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu used to find ways that how can he learn more from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And whenever his aunt Maymuna, al-Mu'mineen, Maymuna radiyallahu anha would have the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam staying at her house, Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu would also spend the night in the house of Maymuna radiyallahu anha along with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so he can capture whatever he can from the night ibadat and night actions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu anhu mentions that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Inna Shaytan, indeed Shaytan, he rests himself on the heart of a believer. When you wake up in the morning, you start your day. As you go on to taking care of your affairs, there is a Shaytan that every morning that sits on the heart of every believer, every son of Adam. And when a person starts his day with the remembrance of Allah, and throughout his day he keeps himself busy with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khanasa, Shaitan leaves and he goes away from the heart of this believer. But if a person does not put himself, he does not occupy himself with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَإِنَّهُ يُوَسْوِسُ فِي قَلْبِهِ, then Shaitan starts to put whispers in his heart and in his mind. And through that whispers, this person is going to go and do the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects an individual from the wasafis of Shaitan. And that is the greatest weapon. This is why this act of, as we mentioned in the other ahadith, that Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam considered this act to be a great worship and the most virtuous one. Why? Because it tackles away the deception and the wasafis of Shaitan. It makes a person from his inside, gives him the ability and strength so that he can carry out the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more efficiently, and he can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is why, as a practice, when a person starts to do, and this is a very important thing, that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has recommended that before you start to do anything, no matter if it's the smallest thing, You start with Bismillah, right? You open the door with Bismillah. You close the door with Bismillah. Whatever you're doing, you start with the remembrance of Allah, with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, Mullah Ali Qari rahimahullah mentions in Mirqat, the benefit of reciting Bismillah are so many that a person cannot imagine. And just having the word Bismillah, just the word Bismillah away or taken out from the affairs and actions of human being, a person can be deprived of many great things. So when you bring the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into any affair, Allah makes it easy for you. Allah Azza wa Jal puts barakah in it. Allah removes away any type of bad effects inside. So there are so many benefits just to recite Bismillah before you do anything. And it can be the smallest thing that you can ever think of. The smallest thing, anything that has to do with our daily affairs. Starting with Bismillah can help a person in many ways possible. And in fact, when you're getting difficulty in doing something, recite Bismillah and you will see that how Allah makes it easy. Sometimes you're not able to do it, and you say Bismillah and then it happens. Why? Because you brought the name of Allah in it, and anything with the name of Allah becomes easy, no matter what it is. So that's why one of the smallest things that we can do in our practice is do every action with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that will save a person from the wasawis of Shaytan as well as make his affairs easy. We ask Allah to grant us the understanding and the ability to practice. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.